Welcome back, Shalligators. Well, today we're continuing our series on Paris Hilton. As we know, our favorite little socialite. Well, maybe she's not your favorite. Maybe, Marjorie Goobelman's your favorite socialite. We're not here to talk about socialites. As we know, Paris has a new documentary out on YouTube called This is Paris, and in it she talks about just so many things, and it's a gold mine of personal life lessons. Last week, we talked about the pros and cons of playing dumb and how to leave behind a persona that maybe doesn't serve you anymore, or maybe one you didn't even create. We also talked about traits of a narcissist that we want to borrow for ourselves. But today, we're going to talk about dating as an alpha female. Now, if you're here on this channel, if you're a Shalligator, even if you just wandered in, there's something that drew you here, right? You're probably a bad bitch, a leader, a go-getter, perky-titted. You are at the top of the heap. And you know what they say? It's lonely at the top. What kind of guys are we truly compatible with? Women like us. Should we be going for other alphas? Should we be going for guys who are a little bit more low-key, maybe even a beta? Is that better? I'm going to break down Paris's experience because there's so much we can learn from that and grow in and of ourselves. But before I get started, just want to remind you guys to head to my YouTube. I'm sorry. I'm so tired. I'm so sorry. Head to my Instagram. This is where you guys suggest topics. I love it. Right now, we're talking about Christina and Tarek El Moussa, their weird love triangle. She's getting divorced from her second husband, and I feel like he's being a little petty, and yet he's also marrying a woman who looks so much like her, which is bizarre in and of itself. So go there and come up with some video topics that you might want to see based on that. Also, head over to Murder Apparel. You can shop my brand new collection. We've got a new t-shirt in addition to the other cool ones. This one says, "Don't tell me to smile. Don't tell me to smile. Smile, beautiful." Go fuck yourself. Be sure to use code Shallon for 20% off. And we're going to be doing some more designs rolling out just in time for Halloween. Paris. So I watched the whole Paris documentary. I liked it. I've said before, I like Paris Hilton a lot. She's sort of my embarrassment idol. She doesn't get embarrassed. She just brushes everything off like, I meant to do it, loves it. And even if she is embarrassed in private, like of course she probably is about something. She's a flesh and blood human. She doesn't let people see her bleed. And I think that is so admirable and so increasingly rare these days. You know, we're in the overshare society. We're in like the emo heyday. I mean, we're not really in emo heyday, but it's not even as interesting as the emo heyday used to be. It's just like blah, feelings, blah, subtweet, blah, Black Bear lyrics. You know, it just gets very like, ugh, cringy. And Paris obviously has her own cringy behaviors, but being embarrassed and emo and oversharing isn't one of them. So I've always like really kind of admired that about her. I also seriously admire her business acumen. And we talked about this before. And it's like, oh, Paris is so dumb. What a dumb slut. Oh, okay, so whose bank account's bigger then? Is it hers? Yes, she got a leg up from her upbringing and her fame for sure. But if you're dumb, you can't make that shit last. I mean, look at Nicole Richie. Not that she's dumb, but like, no one talks about her. You know, she doesn't have a thriving career the way Paris does, getting paid $1 million per DJ gig. So I believe that Paris is a very classic narcissist, but I also believe she's like a pretty bad bitch. Now, we've talked about alphas before on here. We talk about alpha females all the time. We are alpha females. I am an alpha female. We talk about alpha males, and the hallmark of an alpha is I am not just a pack leader. I am a pack builder, right? I don't just like want to be the king of the castle. I want to lift other people up. I don't have this like fragile ego. It's like, well, I can't like help anybody else because that might unseat me. No, an alpha wants other people to do well. They know they're still going to be at the top of the pile. That's okay. They want to build. They want to connect. They want their friends to be friends with their other friends, right? They want to like learn about new people in their industry, stuff like that. So it's debatable about how alpha Paris is in that sense. Like when I think we know the ultimate alpha, ultimate two alphas, Barack and Michelle, right? Ultimate alphas. They stand up for other people. They stick their neck out helping others. They're not just myopic about what's in it for me. They said, of course, what's in it for me, but how can I use what I have to better the world around me? Paris. Ooh. Anyway, for the purposes of this video, I want you to focus on Paris as an alpha due to her success in business, right? You can't deny that if she was some shrinking violet, this wouldn't have happened for her. And in the video, that stuck out to me is that she was very tenacious business-wise. She has 17 products. Her fragrances have made $3 billion. Not that she's in the lab tinkering around, but she has that drive in her to make $1 billion personally. She said that. She's like, when I make $1 billion, I'll stop. And when I was a teenager, I wanted to make 100 million. And I think that too many women dream too small, right? We dream too small. I just want to find a nice guy. Bitch, what else? What the fuck else? Come on, like tell it to me. The world is your menu. It's a catalog with no end. And all you're ordering is some nice guy named Dennis? I don't think so. This is why we vision board. This is why we dream big. This is why we come to this channel. Because I want us to elevate. I want us to stretch and grow. Be like, okay, I don't just want to be a YouTuber. I want to have a clothing line. And I want to have a jewelry line and a makeup line and sign a new 3-book deal. All these things are coming. I'm dreaming big, and Paris dreams big, and that to me is very inspirational. But to the wrong kind of guy, it's the opposite. And we see this in her documentary. So the relationship that's shown in there is with some, I'm not even going to fucking look up who he is. His name's Aleks. I think he's like a Dutch influencer, wannabe DJ. He's something douchey, right? He's okay. He's that kind of European guy who wears those like capri cargo pants shorts, but the capri length. Do you know what I'm talking about? And dances like this and wears sunglasses inside, maybe pops his collar. He's that guy. Hot, but douchey. And she, unfortunately, we saw it collapse. So she was about to play, like DJ, whatever, spin, I don't know, Tomorrowland, which is like in Belgium. It's like the biggest rave in the world. And she was so excited about it. She's like, this has been my dream. I used to go to Tomorrowland. Like, I just can't believe that I have this opportunity. And no matter what you think about Paris Hilton's DJ skills, I'm completely agnostic because I don't like that kind of music really anyway. You cannot deny that like this was a big moment for her, right? And whether or not you think she deserves to be there, who gives a shit? Are you there? So sit down. It's fine. This was a huge moment for her. And her boyfriend was there and fucking ruined it. Now, before this even happened, she had to go to an event, like this was back in LA. She had to go to an event and we see her setting up nanny cams around the house, spy cameras and teddy bears. By the way, her house, can we talk about her house? What's up? What's up there? It's like a hoarder's palace. I think it's very unusual to see people who grew up that rich be hoarders. I always remember my mom's friend was like an interior designer and she's like, the hallmark of wealth is scarcity, something like that, like, or sparseness. And she's like, you don't go into like a really beautiful rich person's house and it's like stuffed with tchotchkes, spoons from different lands in the gift shop, and I buy shot glasses everywhere I go. They don't do that. They collect art, right? Or cars, beautiful, sleek things. So I've always been trained like that, like really fucked me up when I was a kid. And I'm like, oh, so I'm very minimalist. Like I don't have a lot of tchotchkes. I don't have like picture frames, little shit sitting around. Like it's very cleared out. And so I looked at her house and I was like, bleh. Like it looks like she keeps everything people give to her. And her friends give her stuff all the time. Like Tinkerbell things in a box and a shitty plastic bracelet. I'm like, what? Paris. Anyway. She's setting up nanny cams and the producer's like, why are you doing that? She's like, well, I want to know what goes on when I'm not here and we're in a new relationship. And I was like, oh my God, dude, what a nightmare. What a nightmare of course, like it's always a big thing when you leave a guy alone in your house for the first time or when you're just in a new relationship and you don't know who he is when you're not looking. But when you have to go to those lengths and you're like, no, I have to have a nanny cam in this house to spy on this dude. Maybe it's the wrong dude. But this is also like part and parcel for her experience. They've all been the wrong dudes. Super wrong. But I digress. So she's at Tomorrowland and she's running around. She's doing press. She's still trying to prove herself as a DJ. And, she has to meet with this radio person. There's a billion things to do backstage. You don't just roll up, go on, do your thing and leave. Like maybe if you're like the absolute biggest headliner, but even then, no, you have to do promotion. And he was sitting backstage like a bitch mad about it. But you've left me 5 times already, and you said that you would not leave me, and that you would say no to things. And she's like, baby, no, baby, no, don't be sad. No, I'm sorry. And he's like, you said you would cancel things for me. I don't even know what this accent is. It's just like general Europe. It's like cargo capris. And she held her ground. And he's like, no, but you said you would say no and you would cancel these interviews. And she's like, I can't do that. And again, like, this underscores Paris's work ethic. She's already rich. She's already famous. She's already booked to go on. She could have been like, okay, no, fine. I won't talk to these radio hosts. I won't do this. I won't pose for the pictures. I won't meet the fans, whatever. And there would be not a huge measurable impact. She wouldn't lose money. She wouldn't get fired. But she said, no, I made a commitment. Again, that underscores her business acumen. She is a business professional. And when we see these people who are like, I'm going to be an influencer, I'm going to be an actress, it's like, you aren't professional at all. You have no follow through in any aspect of your life, right? You think it's easy, but you look at someone like Paris Hilton, who does have the elasticity to be a completely unprofessional person, and she's not, right? And she, in that moment, chose business over this dude, as she should have. And he was like holding her laptop wrong. He's like, oops, I dropped the laptop. How am I supposed to hold it to make it not drop? Boop, I'm going to close it. Oh, I supposed to keep open? I can't do that. And she was just like, ah! And he just kept picking at her. And she was like, please don't do this to me right now. She said, I'm begging you, please don't do this right now. Please don't be mean to me. I'm so stressed. I'm so nervous. This is the biggest show of my life. Please don't do this. And he just wouldn't let up. And Paris, like a bad bitch, cut his wristbands off, kicked his punk ass out. I was like, this is the greatest cinematic scene in movie history. Like, I was so proud of her because here's my experience with that. Many moons ago, I was dating the worst person I've ever dated. His name was Jason. Should I say his last name? Clark. Anyway, he was just such a bitch. I, for the most part, not always, but I've historically dated like white college educated males, right? That's my demographic, is what I am. Because white college educated males don't have a lot to bitch about, in my opinion. You're a great white shark, bro. You're at the top of the food chain because that's simply how the food chain's oriented. And this kid was such a bitch. He was such a cuck beta bitch. He hated me. And I have no idea why. Like, he was so jealous of me and so insecure. I was getting honored at a gala, and I had like done a lot of volunteering for this organization. I was getting honored. I was like doing a little speech. It was like my night, and he traveled for work. He was gone Monday through Thursday. There's no way he could have attended, and that was fine. Like, I didn't expect him to. Like, I had, this had all come about before I'd even met him. And I was so excited. My best friend was with me. We were in a limo. I was in a gown. Like, this was my night. And he purposely ruined it. He called me up and picked a fight over the dedication in the book that I had coming out. That book, X's and O's, I had written before I'd even met him. And so I'd done the dedication before I'd even met him. And I dedicated it to my college boyfriend. And I said, if I know what love is, it's because of you. I don't even talk to my college boyfriend. He's in the Army. I haven't spoken to him since like the day we broke up when I was 23, and I was like 27 at this time, whatever it was. And Jason fucking lost it. And he could have had that conversation the day before. He could have had that conversation with me the day after that gala. He chose to do it not only the day of, on the ride to the event in the limo. That's when he decided to pick a fight about this. And I said exactly what Paris said. Please don't do this right now. Please don't do this to me. I'm so nervous. I'm so excited. Like, this is such a night for me. Why are you doing this? But of course, I knew why he was doing it. It was obvious. It was obvious to every single person. He was a beta bitch, and he could not handle my success. This is what I find to be the problem with being a successful woman. We don't compete with our boyfriends. I don't compare myself. Oh, you got a promotion. Like, I don't feel salty or any type of way over their achievements. That is not the case. Guys compete with us. Well, weak guys do. As I've gotten older and as I have like thrown myself into this career that I have. I have made my career my absolute focus of my life, whether it's YouTube or being the editor of a magazine or being an author. Like, that is the number one priority in my life. I'm not the stay-at-home kind of person. I'm not a stay-at-home wife. I'm not a stay-at-home mom. Like, God bless people who are. Like, that's fine. But that's simply not my lane, you know? And it doesn't have to be your lane to be in my lane. Many different lanes. We're a giant freeway. And it is a deal breaker for me if people don't support my career. And I was talking to my boyfriend about this the other night. We were talking about deal breakers, and he's like, what's yours? He's like, is it cheating? And I'm like, honestly, no. It's if you come for me in my career. If you're not supportive, if you pick a fight when I tell you I need your support, if you belittle me, if you amplify my insecurities, like, I am so highly attuned to that. Done. I'm like, and there is no coming back from that. Because once I see that, oh, you're jealous of me. You're insecure. Whatever word you want to package it in, it's not a good word. It's not a happy word. It's a toxic, corrosive word, because it's a toxic, corrosive feeling that they have. And if someone wants to tear you down, they will. You give them enough time, that's absolutely what a guy's going to do, especially if he's close to you. Do you think that was the first freak out Paris Hilton's boyfriend had? No chance. So let's talk about how to date as an alpha female, right? Because again, whatever you feel about Paris, who really cares? You're an alpha female, that's all that matters. I have learned, as I think Paris probably has, the hard way not to date someone in your industry. Because I'm pretty sure that this dude, Aleks, was like, she said she met him at Ultra, or like maybe Winter Music Fest. She met him at some like other EDM thing. So he's in the orbit of her world. And this is what's tricky for alpha women, is it's, on one hand, we are drawn to people in our lane, in our professional lane or whatever, maybe at the sport we play. Also, he's an actor, whatever it is. But it is truly the worst move. Let me say this again. If you are an alpha female, stay away from people who do what you do. Whether that's gymnastics, acting, singing, YouTube, EDM DJ, whatever it is. Do you know why? Like I said, we don't compete with guys, but they're competing with us. At least the beta ones are. And just the way the world works, there's more betas than alphas. It's important to note that not every man is either a beta or an alpha. Same with women. Like, it's not like if you're not an alpha female like me, you're just like a beta bitch. No, not at all. Not at all. Most people are just people, and that's totally fine. Alphas have a very specific pathology, but betas do too. And what makes a beta is alphas are pack builders, betas are pack destroyers. They're tearing another woman down. They're oppressing other people. They're being bitchy and hostile because their egos are absolute garbage fires. They don't feel good about who they are. Maybe they know their own limitations. They know they're not smart or talented enough to win a Grammy. So fuck you if you think you're going to win one, Rihanna. Right? We see this all the time in celebrity relationships. All the time. Chris Brown to me is such a beta, such a violent, non-communicative turd burglar. Cannot stand him. So when Paris said she met this guy at an EDM thing, I was like, that's all I needed to know. That's all I needed to know. Because no matter what, she's higher on the food chain. And men don't really like that. You can be higher on a different food chain. And like my boyfriend now, like he's so excited about my career. He's like so impressed by it. And because he's doing something completely different with his life. So it's like, yeah, girl, like go get it. Charge down that lane. Like, I'm in a different one over here. No harm, no foul. But if he is in your lane, it becomes bumper cars, doesn't it? I've learned the hard way not to date people, like not to date other writers, or I would never date a YouTuber. Can you imagine a man who seriously calls himself an influencer trying to let that man touch you with the fingers that he uses to write the word influencer in his Instagram bio? Never. And it's hard for powerful, successful women to meet guys outside of what they do, because you know what powerful women don't have a lot of? Time. We don't have a lot of free time. And if we do, we're not like creeping around. We're like working on other stuff. We're hardwired to achieve and acquire and produce, right? I'm not at the bars every night. I can't do that because you know I'm doing the challenge. But even before that, that was just not how I lived my life. So it was natural that where I would meet people would be industry things, right? Same with you. You're going to meet someone at a track meet, at a school play, like not a school play, you know, that sounds, my back hurts. You're going to meet people within your own lane. But I caution you against this. I caution you against this. One of my friends said to me years ago, the things they start out loving about you are the things they end up hating. Oh, you're so sassy. You and that smart ass mouth. You always got something smart to say. Oh, you're so busy. I love how ambitious you are. What you mean you won't cancel interview for me? Right? Suddenly everything flips. Why? Because a beta realizes with shock and horror that actually, he doesn't get to control whatever that behavior is. Oh, he loves that you're so jet set. Guys always like that. Oh, Shallon travels so much. She's so cosmopolitan. What do you mean you're not staying home with me? They realize that they don't have mastery over you, and that creates a very bad situation. That creates someone who is going to tear you down somehow, some way. And they do it just like Paris Hilton's boyfriend did it. Guilt, coercion, just this pity party, belittling her, right? Because what do we call this? Leveling. When someone's ego is not where it needs to be, they either puff themselves up or they cut the other person down. And we see this all the time as dating alpha females, right? All the time. So if this is what you're encountering, please know that it's not going to get better. So who do we date? Who are we supposed to date? Well, it's interesting in the documentary, Paris and Nikki are talking, and Paris asks the same question: who am I supposed to date? She's like, because look, like my lifestyle's so crazy. If I have a guy who slots into it easily, then he's like some bitch boy who just follows me around. Then I lose all respect for him. He feels emasculated. It's a huge problem, and that's exactly what ended up playing out with her and Aleks, that influencer cargo pants guy, right? And Nikki says something so wise. She says, but do you want to date an equal? Because you can't control an equal. You don't get to control an equal, right? And I think that that's a very astute thing, because Nikki married an equal. She married a Rothschild, for God's sakes. They're not exactly a bunch of slackers. So she married someone who understands her lifestyle, how she was brought up, that whole thing, but also has his own thing very much going on. And I'm glad that she found what I believe is a good match, at least on paper. Hopefully it is in real life, because I told you I like the Hiltons. But she made an excellent point. Do we as bad bitches want somebody on the same level? On paper, not on paper, but at first glance, we're like, of course I do. Well, girl, dig a little deeper. And when Nikki was saying all this, I was like, oh God, is this my mother? Am I having this conversation with my mother? Because my mom has had this conversation with me billions of times. She's like, I don't know that you do want to date someone on your level, because then you don't get to call all the shots about when you travel and where you go, to what you do at night, to whose house you spend Christmas at. Like and she was using the example of family. She's like, I think you have dated people with toxic families, because then they get to like absorb into our family, and then you never have to compromise. You never have to spend Christmas with somebody else. You never have to go here for Easter. They always come to us, and you get to like still have our very insular family unit and just import someone in, but you never have to export yourself. And I was thinking about that, the concept of exportation. As like adventurous as I am, and I have a very high chaos tolerance, which is why I travel well, I don't export. You want to be in my life? You be in my life. I'm not spending the night at your house. It's even little micro things like that. It can get very granular. Like, you're going to spend the night at my house. I have the better sheets. Why do boys always have navy blue bedding? Where do you even find navy blue and the flattest pillows on the planet? How do they get that flat? Where do you buy them? The flat pillow store? I don't get it. 2, I want you to meet my friends. I'll come hang out with your friends, but I want you to you gotta meet my friends. When I have exported myself into like another person's group of friends or around their family, and that happened recently, it was the most vulnerable feeling ever for me. And that's weird. I'm like just kind of unpacking this as I'm saying this. But it was like, it felt so different to be in their world and their crew around their people and loved ones, and not mine, because I didn't have the power anymore. This wasn't like, oh, you're invited. I didn't have the power. I didn't have the power of like where and when we went shooting or rode horses or whatever it was. I was very much along for the ride. And in some ways I was like, I don't like this. I need my control. I need my control back. But then I leaned into it and it felt so nice. It felt so nice. You know what it felt like? Just being the girl. Just being the girl. There's a Kenny Chesney song called The Woman With You. And it's like I've been the CEO, I've been the this, I've been copy repairman, dancing backwards in high heels. I just want to be the woman with you. I just want to be the woman. I just want to sit on the porch and eat a can of beans and not have to have it all figured out and to let you take the reins sometimes. I'm just tired. I just want, it's like, you pick where we go for dinner. I don't care. I don't care. To let go of some of that control, as they say in The Great Gatsby, there's a certain struggle and there's a certain relief. And that relationship broke me open in a lot of really good ways because now I am okay with having less control, right? And so the person I'm dating now, he's very much in control, very much. Even though he's a lot younger, he decides where we eat dinner. He decides what time we go to bed. He's like, we're going to bed at 10 and we're up by 7. You need structure. I was like, oh, okay. Like I liked it. Certain struggle, certain relief. He makes me better because I have allowed it. He makes me better because I've allowed it. And because I had that past relationship that broke me open a little bit, I realized that I could be better and that it truly was, in essence, a function of allowing. And therefore, I picked the guy I'm with now, not because, I had complete control over him and I can control the schedule and blah, 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 which maybe was subconsciously going on as an alpha, a woman who is used to acquisition, who not only is used to acquisition, who lives and fucking dies by it. We cannot turn these impulses off. And this is what's so hard. We can't go from being the boss to being just like the little doormat at home. Not that easily. Sometimes we're just like, hey, this is an on switch and there's no off. But I learned to install my own off switch by giving up a little bit of control and seeing the benefit that came from it. And I don't mean control about things that now I feel vulnerable and scared about. It's like sexual control, and I don't control how often we have sex, or financial control. No, just a little bit more malleability. Just a little bit. It's like, hey, it's fine if the boys pick where we go have lunch. You'll be fine. Just roll with it. There's more elasticity. I'm more low key. I'm more low chill. I'm more chill now. And because of that relationship breaking me open like that, I was able to choose my boyfriend now and not seek out that same hierarchy, I guess, that I had in the past. I saw different traits in him as being positive, whereas maybe in the past I would have seen them not as negative, but like I wouldn't have appreciated it. You know, I wouldn't have appreciated a man who is commanding and decisive and in control. Now I'm like, no, this is better. And I'm not saying it's a perfect relationship, and I'm not saying this is like the forever, whatever, but it's been so illuminating, and I've grown. Because here's the thing we don't want to acknowledge. This is going to be gross. We're the common denominator. Paris Hilton has dated a lot of douchebags because she's allowed it. She's dated some quality dudes. I'm sure I said she's dated my friend Carter. He's an awesome guy. But she's dated shitty people for a reason. She has drawn herself to them. And we talk about this all the time, the victim narrative. And I think as powerful alpha women, we skew almost too much in the other direction. It's like, I'm not a victim to my choices because I've had no choice in this at all. We say that. It's like, well, I don't know. Why do I keep dating douches? I don't know, girl. Why do you? Because you're the one who's still in it. You're the common denominator. You're the factor that links all of these experiences. And I'm not saying you're fucked up and you're stupid, but you have to look at your own hand in things, right? Because then you do get the victim narrative. I don't know. This just happens to me. Girl, no, it doesn't. You choose a behavior and you've chosen the consequence, right? You choose to repeat a pattern. You've chosen the outcome one more time. So look at who you're choosing. Look at why. Maybe, like Nikki and my mother said, you don't want an equal. Maybe that's because you don't want to settle down right now. Maybe that's because you saw your mom and your dad and he was more powerful and your mom was subjugated. Maybe that's modeling something out. We say, because we know, it's a psychological truth, that we tend to date people who remind us of our most difficult parent, right? And that can manifest in two ways. We can recreate that relationship in exactly the role we had prior, or we could flip it and it could become the opposite. We rally so hard against it that we have inverted it, but it's the same modeling. We're just on the opposite end of a different spectrum, right? And the outcome is still going to be unsatisfying because we're not acknowledging why we keep engaging in this dynamic. Why? Why do I need control over my relationships? I grew up with a single mom. It was her way or the highway. She was a tyrant. I mean, in the way that all moms are. I mean, she's not a tyrant at all, but there was not a democracy. It was a momocracy. And so that's what I'm used to, is no one's telling me what to do. No one's telling me what to do, right? This is my house. This is how I'm decorating this house how I want, because this is my house. You might happen to live here as my husband, but this is my house. That doesn't make for great partnerships. They're not partnerships. And if I'm being honest, if I look back on a lot of my relationships, they haven't been partnerships. They've been challenge-ships, They've been partnerships sometimes, or maybe in the beginning, but then I would get a bee in my bonnet. It's like, you're not good at traveling. I'm going to make all the reservations. I'm going to make all the plans. And then you know what you get? A martyr. You become a martyr. And who the fuck wants to be around a martyr? Literally nobody. Nobody. Because you know who martyrs are? They're our parents. All of our parents are martyrs. And then you have set up this parent-child dynamic with your boyfriend. Oh, do you see how this all just relates? Do you see how this relates? So the antidote, though, is simply being aware. Simply being aware. It's like, okay. I'm attracted. Paris is like, I'm attracted to this dude, Aleks, because number one, I falsely think he understands my lifestyle, when really he might understand the surface things. He might understand the EDM scene, and he might know the DJs and the computer programs I'm talking about, but he does not understand my life. He doesn't understand what it's like to be a business person, to sacrifice things for your career. Who would understand that? Oh, maybe the guy I'm dating now, Carter, who started an alcohol company at 24 after making millions in hedge funds. He might not even know who Diplo is, but he knows what hard work is. He knows what acquisition is. These relationships, as an alpha, the successful ones, they might not look how you think. You might have a perfect partner in an architect or a cattle stock contract. I think a lot about cattle. I know I keep using that example. I'm sorry. Or a videographer or something like that. It might not be someone in your lane. And like I said, it shouldn't be. So get it out of your head that only people in your little sphere are going to understand you. No. Don't sell yourself short. The reasons you're successful, it's not just about the volleyball or the acting trophies or the songs you've recorded. No, it's about your drive, your ambition, your business acumen, your intelligence, your tenacity. Look for people with those traits. Whatever package it comes in could be wildly unexpected, but compatible. My boyfriend, he and I have a lot of very similar traits. And what I admire and respect about him is that he is a go-getter in business. Like, he is so focused on it. He like I said, he makes me better. But what he does, his lane is completely different than mine. His sort of like logistics are completely different than mine. But it works, at least for now. So, anyway, I want to know what you guys have to say. Who do you think Paris would be happy dating? When you, as an alpha, have looked back on your dating trajectory, who have you actually been the most compatible with? Is it people who on paper were doing the exact same things you were doing, going to the same school, like in the same major? Or is it people who maybe on paper had a whole different circumstance going on, had a whole different skill set, but the emotional skill set they had below that, maybe that was the same? For more, click like and subscribe. We're doing more videos this week. Also, like I said, find me on Instagram to get some behind the scenes information. I'll talk to you later, Shalligators.